Hey, everybody, this is Lyndsey Parker at Licorice Pizza. We're here with Robert Randolph. Two causes for celebration today. It is the record release party for Preacher Kids. It's also Noel Day or Leon Day. That's why I got my flare on. Christmas in June. So
Awesome.
happy release week and Noel Day to you.
Yes, thank you. It's Happy Release Week and Noel Day, celebrating the master.
You've played with Leon Russell before.
I played with Leon Russell. Actually, I played one of his last live festivals that he played.
Oh, wow. What was that like? What was the circumstance?
We were somewhere. It's kind of weird because I didn't think about it till maybe I was just sound checking and I forgot. Because he, it wasn't that long ago. It probably had to be within, what year did Leon pass?
2018-ish, maybe?
Okay, so maybe like 2017, somewhere around there, summer 2017. We were playing right before him. Actually, he was playing on another stage at this festival. And after him, we played before him anyway. And he was like, he sent the message, Lee, I want you to come play and jam with him. So I jammed with him. And he hadn't played many other shows after that, so that was the last time I played with him. First time I played with him, we were in the Village Studios here in California, and not Malibu, what is that? Santa Monica.
The Westwood area.
Yeah.
West Side.
I don't know. I'm an East Coast guy, so to me it's all
good.
But yeah, at that time, T-Bone Burnett was producing my record and the record with Elton John and Leon Russell at the same time. So we were in like two different rooms. So I got a chance to spend a lot of time with Elton and Leon. And Leon was, we wound up just talking for like every day for like another whole like week or two, And it turned into where I played on their record and then Leon actually helped us write and record this beautiful song. It's from off the Robert Randolph record called We Walk This Road. He helped co-write and played the piano on this very beautiful, intimate song called Salvation. And it's just really one of those, we only played it live one time.
Only one time?
Yeah, because it's kind of one of those moments where it's really just like bass, my pedal steel, and piano and drums. But the way he played the piano, and it was the most simplest, beautiful thing, And before that, we were trying to record it. Actually, you know what's funny? We were trying to record the song without him. And T-Bone was like, since you and Leon and, you guys came, wrote the song, and let's just have him come in here. And, so he just gets on the piano, and it just turned out to be that version of the song. So then he wound up telling me that whole week about a funny story about how when he was a young kid, he just went on tour, right? He was touring. And somewhere, maybe somebody might know the exact, but he was telling me the story, this most bizarre story. He's like, I was on tour. I was touring all these years. And one day I came home. I think he said his wife brought a TV. And he had never seen a TV before. That's what he said. And he said he got home and he turned on his TV set. Like, what is that? He said, it's a TV set. And he turned it on and it was like Tom and Jerry and like the Jeffersons or something like that. I forget what show it was. And he's like, nobody saw him for another like 15, 20 years because he thought the TV was the most fascinating thing. So he just sat. That's all he wanted to do was sit on his couch and watch his TV set.
Jeffersons are pretty great. You can binge watch that stuff. Well, I definitely want, obviously we're celebrating Leon's legacy, but we're celebrating Preacher Kids. You've worked with a lot of people, you just mentioned a few names. You were recently on Beyonce's Cowboy Carter, but you have some pretty great luminaries on this, which is actually kind of incredibly your first solo record, official solo record.
Yeah.
Shooter Jennings produced
Jennings, yes.
Judith Hill, who's a goddess, sings on it. Margo Price, who's a goddess. You're on Sun Records, The Legacy. There's a lot of impressive all-star stuff happening.
Yeah,
how did this come together?
We were, I started writing many songs and I was doing two records, kind of like concepts at the same time, one in Nashville. Then I text Shooter because actually one of my neighbors was like, you need to make a record that sounds like this. And it was like the Yellow Wolf record, right? And I was like,
record?
Yellow Wolf. It was the
Yellow Wolf, who did that collaborative thing with Shooter. I forget the name, but they were a duo.
Yes.
Yeah, that was good stuff.
And so I was like, I know Shooter. And I was like, I'll make a record that sounds.
Yeah, that was a great record.
Yeah, so I like DM'd him or something on Instagram.
And you didn't know him.
I knew him just from like, we would always just wind up in the same bar somewhere. Literally. Nashville or here, right? And through the years. And so he's like, hey man, he's like, well, let's just figure out a time. Why don't you just come to LA and let's just see if we even like each other, you know? And that's literally what we did. I flew here. We won the Zach Brown tour and I flew here. Like we had like 4 days off. So I flew here and we put a bunch of people together in the studio at Sunset Sound. And
wow,
the first song.
More history right there.
Yeah, we just jammed for like a whole day. And the first song we actually did was When Will the Love Rain Down? That was the first thing. And then was Choir Woman from off this record, those 2 songs. And then he was like, okay, I think we got a vibe. Let's come back in a couple months. So we came back. That was the start.
I read like something on Rolling Stone, a little interview you did on Rolling Stone where you basically, it seems like the whole thing was kind of, maybe not improvised, but it's kind of seat of the pants, like not planned out.
Yeah, we were kind of writing. So the pedal steel guitar has its own way of like writing a song for you. It's kind of like AI.
Except actual intelligence.
Actual intelligence. Well, it depends on whose hands are on it, right? So maybe my hands are some kind of intelligence.
But I think your hands are. I think that's fair to say. But yeah, so it just sort of manifested.
Yeah. We had all of these musical pieces that just came from jams, and so while we were jamming, I would like hum a melody, or Shooter would hum a melody, or one of the guys in the band would hum a melody, and we would kind of like build these sections of jams together, and that's how we kind of like came up with a lot of these songs. Like for example, like When Will the Love Rain Down and Big Women, and those songs, it was played exactly like that. There was no overdub.
Wow. What made you, you talked about wanting to do this kind of rock record, which is a bit of a departure from what you do with the family band. What made you, 20 years in to your career, want to do a rock record per se by yourself?
Well, I guess it was more of like just kind of expanding and exploring and getting wet. Sometimes, I tell people all the time, you got to mix the characters, to get a different type of dish. You got to get you got to say, let's bring some wacky people in here.
Well, who are the wacky people besides maybe the ones I've already mentioned?
Well, my guitar player actually, it's kind of funny because my this new version of this band is like everybody's a little bit different, even though we all come from church in some facet. The guitar player Tash Neal, who was already, he comes from the band the London Souls, and he was already this kind of really badass, great blues rock guy, and so I never kind of played or sat in the studio and done that kind of idea and have somebody like kick me in the tail the whole time, from a guitar standpoint. Mm-hmm. And so it was just a different mixture of characters. Like I did with Shooter coming in and kind of bringing his edge.
He's a character.
Yeah. He's a total cool character, right? And then also Judith. By the way, I can't say enough about her because, I would, we had these melodies and we had these ideas and I had these themes and I would send them. I like sending people the tracks. I'll say, hey, let me know what you have. Let me know what you got, and people would send stuff. I'd be like, that's not it. It just wasn't it. It wasn't wrong, but it kind of wasn't. It was all kind of other things we were writing about. So we get on the phone. Then Judith, you just send her something and it's just like, seriously, I mean, it's just like magic. It's almost like we even make magic together, which is not even like, wasn't even planned.
She's so great.
She's wonderful.
She's so long.
I think she's one of the best artists alive because she's one of the most great singers that we have today. A great guitar player, great piano player, and a hell of a songwriter, which, I mean, people don't talk enough about songwriting.
Her Black Widow album is insane.
Yes, it is.
It really sounds.
And she's got so much emotion, Isn't that crazy?
You've collaborated with so many people. I did mention that you briefly mentioned that you collaborated, famously on Cowboy Carter with Beyonce, which was an example of her doing something different genre-wise. Was any of that sort of an influence to you on the idea of like, oh, I'll do a rock record? You could do a this record. You could do a hip hop record. Do whatever you want.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of just like, I don't know. Like I said, when we started this record, I was doing like 2 different concepts.
Mm-hmm.
One was like more funkier and more like kind of Sly Stone-us, and then this one was like, I was like, it's only 4 of us. Because what'll happen is a lot with today's technology and all the ideas, like, you get in the habit of creating all of these sounds. And so you're like, hey man, it's only 4 people in the band, and we get like a 10-piece orchestra and all of that going on that we've overdubbed. And this one was like very raw, and like the energy and the funk and everything was just like loud. And so that was just the approach to doing that,
Are you going to do the other one? The other one you had in mind? The other
it'll be, yeah.
Are you working on it already?
Yeah, I'm going to finish that up too.
When's that coming out? What can you tell me about that?
We got to see.
Are you working with Shooter on that, or is that a whole other?
No, it's a whole different thing.
Oh,
it's kind of funny because she mentioned Vance Powell, and so that was like the whole thing about it,
So before I let you go and go perform out there, the album Preacher Kids, a couple days coming out this week. What's the significance of the title? And I do think there might be a through line lyrically, or I wouldn't say it's a concept album, but there is a theme running through it lyrically.
Yeah, well, I think the concept and the theme behind it, it's like me coming from church, the band we're all like preacher kids, but just compiling all of the stories and watching all of the documentaries of like Aretha, who comes from preachers, and Sly Stone, and I mean even guys like George Clinton, and there's in so many, James Brown and Ray Charles and all these different people, and like all of these, we all have similar stories, and so
which is in a nutshell,
it's just that we've all come from this whole strict sort of traditional type of thinking or teaching or growing up that way, and then kind of like being like rebelled on in some way, and then but us all having a vision to go out and share this beautiful music gifts and have all of these different new outlook on songwriting and concepts, and like it's all the same similar stories. We've all been through the whole traditional church struggle coming out. So that's really what the concept is, Preacher Kids. It's the story of all the preacher kids.
Can't wait to see you tell the story out there on Noel Day.
On Noel Day, the first Noel.
I'm really happy to celebrate. This is my first Leon Day celebration officially.
Oh, wow.
Came dressed for it.
I see.
But I'm excited to celebrate with you, and I'm excited to hear this record live, and I'm excited for that concept, or the next record.
Oh, yeah.
The funky record.
We got lots more music coming.
All right. Well, you'll have to come back to Licorice Pizza when that record comes out.
Yes, we will. We'll see you again soon.
All right. Thanks for coming.
Thank you so much.